Welcome to the Tech Blog Writer Podcast, your guide to future tech trends and innovation in a language you understand. Now, over to your host, Neil Hughes.
Welcome back to another episode of the Tech Blog Writer Podcast. Now, technology is always filled with buzzwords, and everywhere you go, many techies hide behind jargon. But if tech really is transforming businesses, then it needs to be in a language that everybody can understand, and not just IT departments. Take artificial intelligence. I don't think there is anyone left on the planet that doesn't accept that AI is going to transform every industry. But what is it? Everyone you ask will probably give you a different answer. But I recently came across a company called Noodle AI who are able to demystify AI and put it into a tagline that everyone can understand. AI is not magic, it's just math. And for me, this encapsulates what this technology is. Because many overcomplicate AI, but when you strip it back, it is just math. Sure, on a massive scale, and only possible now because of the advances in computing power at our disposal. Now, Noodle AI was founded in March 2016 by Stephen Pratt, who has an impressive track record in the tech industry because before launching the San Francisco-based AI startup, he oversaw all the worldwide Watson implementations for IBM Global Business Services. So buckle up, hold on tight as I beam your ears all the way to San Francisco so we can speak with Stephen Pratt, CEO of Noodle AI. So a massive warm welcome to the show, Stephen. Can you tell the listeners a little about who you are and what you do?
Sure. Yeah, I'm Steve Pratt. I'm the founder and CEO of Noodle AI, and we're an enterprise artificial intelligence company. Just before this, I was the leader of all of the Watson implementations worldwide for IBM Global Services. And before that, spent some time with TPG Growth, which is a private equity fund. And we were actually trying to buy an analytics company, couldn't find the right one, which ultimately led to Noodle AI. And before that, I was the founder and CEO of Infosys Consulting. And so I did the crazy thing of leaving a senior partnership at Deloitte and starting a two-person consulting organization as a separate company outside of Infosys. And in 10 years, we took that from nothing to when we left, it was $2.3 billion. So that was quite a decade.
Wow.
That's me in a nutshell.
I'm glad you mentioned your history there at Deloitte and IBM Watson. So I've got to ask, what made you leave the lead of IBM Watson to create Noodle AI, which, I think you mentioned there, is a startup that was founded on addressing those tech gaps that all those other big companies don't?
Yes. So, IBM's a great company. I think at this point in my career, I wanted to do something quickly, and I thought that there was a big gap in the market for a company that could analyze both text data and numeric data and merge those together and very precisely apply them to really hard operational problems, whether it's in consumer products or in heavy manufacturing. And so basically that's why we started Noodle AI.
So for anyone hearing us talk now about Noodle AI and hearing about you guys for the very first time, can you just help set the scene by telling them more about how it's one of the first solutions to create a custom-built AI as service offering for the enterprise, but more importantly, how it's helping even the most complex enterprises address those challenges in marketing, retail, operations, and so many more?
Sure. So what we like to say is that we build a brain inside your business. And we do that using our product, which we affectionately call the Beast. And the Beast basically has 10 applications, AI applications that are interconnected. There are 5 that are on the demand side and help companies and really shape demand. There are 5 more on the supply execution side. So really marrying together supply and demand. And we like to say that that the Beast takes over where planning systems fail and brings sort of a next layer of intelligence to helping our users make really great decisions.
I love the fact you call it the Beast. Who came up with that idea? It's got to be a developer, right?
It was our CTO, and just offhandedly called it the Beast. And we're like, hey, that's it. I love it, yes.
Love it. So can you also tell me more about how two great examples, such as intelligent steel producer Big River Steel and also luxury airline ExoJet, are using and benefiting from Noodle AI now? Because I think it's fantastic what you're doing with those guys.
Yeah, they're both really exciting customers. So at ExoJet, which is the leading private aviation company in the U.S., so the first application that we did for them was to use machine learning and AI to help them do pricing. And this was taking into account all kinds of data they'd never considered before. And one of the most interesting data sets was Federal Aviation Administration data. So they could look dynamically at where all their competitor jets are and where their jets are, and really dynamically calculate supply and demand and their market position and price accordingly. Then the next thing we did was to make sure that if they flew a jet to a certain location, because they can really fly anywhere, that they were able to get a reservation the next day for that jet. And so if you fly to the middle of nowhere and no one wants to charter the jet, you have to fly empty airplanes around, which is bad for economics. It's bad for the environment. And as a result, the profitability of the company went up 5%. The number of empty jets flown around went down 11%. And it has really transformed the company. And it's really because of the great leadership of Bradley Stewart, who's the CEO, who's a real visionary and was committed to, as he said, put down our stone tools and really be a leader. So that was ExoJet. Fantastic story. The other is Big River Steel. So Big River Steel is a really innovative steel mill in Arkansas. And again, this is a story of leadership of the CEO of Big River Steel. It likes to say that they're a technology company that just happens to make steel. And so what we've done in partnership with them is to build the world's first learning steel mill. So they have tens of thousands of sensors all around the mill, and we're working with them to embed learning algorithms through the Beast into really throughout the steel production process, all the way from sourcing of raw materials to inbound logistics to production scheduling, even energy prediction. In fact, as a side note, that Big River Steel is actually LEED certified steel mill, which is something that most people don't think about, of a green steel mill. LEED certification is an environmental award that you're given for being really green. And so this is, I think, dramatically changed the competitiveness of Big River Steel, and it seems to be spreading quickly throughout the steel industry.
I also love your tagline at Noodle AI, which I think is AI is not magic. I think it's all too often now that companies try to baffle customers or hide behind tech jargon, but you seem to be doing the exact opposite and focus on demystifying artificial intelligence in a language that everyone can understand. I mean, was that always your intention from the outset?
Yes. It always bugged me when stories about AI were robots with red eyes that, were really ominous and people throwing around a lot of buzzwords and what it is. And basically AI is just math. And the reason it's happening now is because of the processing power of supercomputers and the abundance of data. But ultimately, it just comes down to good old-fashioned mathematical equations, many of which were written in the 50s and 60s. In fact, one of the key underpinnings of the mathematics of AI was written in the 1700s by Thomas Bayes. He's an English philosopher. And so really it's just very complex calculations to find patterns in your data, to make predictions and then recommendations. And so that's in a nutshell what it is.
So what are the current business opportunities for artificial intelligence, do you think? And how is Noodle AI's technology actually directly influencing various industries right now?
We see artificial intelligence as fundamentally changing how every company makes every important complex decision. So we see that 3-5 years from now, that this will be the new baseline, that if you're not using learning algorithms crunching data on supercomputers to really find patterns that humans can't, that you're going to be left behind. And probably the best example of an implementation of this is what Amazon has done. They've deployed hundreds, if not thousands, of algorithms throughout their operations, and you can just feel it. It's a better experience. And the ultimate objective of what we do is to get our customers so that they can get the right products in the right place at the right time for the right customers at the right price with the right promotions with the right quality. And those are very complex decisions, and so I think it's very exciting to see the transformation of companies.
So as one of the big tech leaders in the industry, I've got to ask as well, what drives you? What makes you want to get out of bed in the morning with a spring in your step?
Oh, I love to see changes in industries. When we started Emphasis Consulting, we thought that consulting was done incorrectly and needed to have more global teams. It had sort of ignored the fact that you could move work around the world. It was really designed pre-internet. And seeing that transformation was very exciting. I think what's happening in AI right now and decision-making throughout industries is even more fundamental than that. It's every day executives are making very complex decisions, and the human brain is very good at strategy and creativity, but we're all really bad probabilistic thinkers, right? Of thinking about what's the likelihood something's going to happen, or what are the risks, or what are the opportunities. We tend to get those wrong, and we create shortcuts and business rules to get around that. And AI really is great at calculating probabilities, at finding patterns. AI is not good at strategy. It's not going to come up with the fact that, for instance, we should found Noodle AI. A computer would not come up with that. So that this fundamental transformation of how business is done is super exciting to me.
So when you hear about those lazy tech headlines of AI is creating a dystopian future, rise of the machines, or removing jobs, do you find yourself wanting to inform people about the actual state of AI and the actual opportunities that it's creating for people? Because I know I do.
Yeah, that's funny. I have exactly the same reaction. Whenever I see a story about AI and there's a robot with red eyes that's, like going to and going to take over the planet, I cringe. I actually think it's quite the opposite, that if we're going to have 10 billion people on the planet and limited resources, we need to get much more efficient at the use of materials that are out there, that we need to do more with less. I think the Hackett Group recently had a study that said there's $1 trillion of wasted working capital. A lot of that is inventory that's sitting in warehouses because people misjudged how many products they would need, or there's a tremendous amount of food waste. There's abundance in one place and shortage in the other. And AI and those are all just bad decisions. And AI can fundamentally help make better decisions. And I think it's something that we strongly need to embrace. Now, if we do stupid things like create autonomous weapon systems with the goal of killing, and an AI system will do what we tell it to do. But I see this as a very powerful tool to actually help achieve really extraordinary good, for our economy and for our environment and for all of us individually.
I think you hit the nail on the head there. AI will tell us will do what we tell it to do. So the problem's with ourselves, not with the technology, is it?
Yes, that's exactly right.
So what's next for Noodle AI? Is there anything else you can share with us today?
Yeah, so we're growing very, very rapidly. So we're continuing product development. We're experimenting with some really interesting ways to deal with data sparsity issues. There are still some areas in business where data is not as abundant as it needs to be, and so some technologies around that. We are going to expand geographically and a lot of exciting things. I mean, I think we're really onto something that the reception that we're getting and the results that we're generating for our clients are really amazing. So it's we're already on a rocket ship, and I think it's getting even faster.
Excellent. Could I just ask as well, before I let you go, if you could remind the listeners of where they can find out any more information about Noodle AI and any of the topics we've covered today, or even contact a member of your team directly with any questions based on our conversation, or about the beast, of course.
Yes, you can come meet the beast. Yes, so our website is www.noodle.ai, so very simple, and it has email addresses and everything on that. Our Twitter feed is Noodle AI. My Twitter feed is @NoodleCEO, and look forward to talking with people.
Like I said at the beginning of the show, I love what you guys are doing, and I love your tagline of AI is not magic, because demystifying AI in a language that everyone can understand, I think essentially will remove those fears and make sure everyone comes along for the ride. So I really champion what you're trying to do there. So a big thank you for coming on.
It's my pleasure.
What a great story. I think being brave enough to make that leap and leave the lead of IBM Watson to create Noodle AI and focus on addressing the tech gaps that other companies don't, all by funding Noodle AI, is quite inspirational on its own. Yes, it's a tech story, but it's a human story too, about following your own path to make a difference in the world. And I love the fact that they refer to it as the beast too. It reminds me of my IT days and brought back so many great memories of banter in an IT environment. Now, although the media makes a big deal about AI for all the wrong reasons, I love Stephen's point now about the reality of having 10 billion people on the planet in a few years, and how we're all going to have to do more with less. It's also worth remembering that although machines are great at AI and all those complex math problems, it's humans that rule at strategy and creativity. So I wish Stephen all the best for the future, and I hope that Noodle AI's technology continues to influence various industries moving forward. Now, as we approach the 500th episode, I want to feature your voice on here. So what I'd like you to do is go over to my site, techblogwriter.co.uk/podcasts, and you'll find a little feature there where you can record a voicemail. And I want to play all the best ones on the 500th episode. So pop along, do that. Any problems, let me know. You can email me at techblogwriter@outlook.com or tweet me at Neil C. Hughes. All that's left for me to say now is a big thank you for listening today, and until next time, don't be a stranger.
Thanks for listening to the Tech Blog Writer Podcast. Until next time, remember, technology is best when it brings people together.